Look around the room you are sitting in. You feel the solid weight of your chair, the dimensions of the walls, and the steady ticking passage of time. We operate on the assumption that this physical environment is the absolute bedrock layer of reality. Cognitive scientist Donald Hoffman proposed a theorem called fitness beats truth. This theorem argues that evolutionary biology actively hides objective reality from us in order to prioritize survival. If our senses showed us the sheer, overwhelming complexity of the actual universe, we wouldn't survive to reproduce. So evolution gave us a stripped-down user interface, designed purely to keep us alive, not to show us the truth. Theoretical physicists are reaching the exact same mathematical conclusion. Nima Arkani Hamed developed the amplitudron, which is a geometric object that calculates particle interactions without relying on space or time. This math proves that space and time are not the fundamental inputs of the universe. They are the emergent outputs of a deeper, structureless geometry. 5,000 years ago, the scholars of Kashmir Shaivism, known as the Trika philosophy, mapped this exact non-spatio-temporal model. Without modern particle accelerators, these ancient thinkers deduced that the visible world is a holographic projection, entirely devoid of independent physical substance. We are essentially wearing a biological virtual reality headset. The solid world we see is just a set of desktop icons. To understand what is actually rendering those icons, we have to look past the screen and examine the ancient framework that describes the universe's fundamental code. The Trika philosophy outlines a process called cosmic transduction. This is the sequential mechanism that filters formless, attributeless pure energy and organizes it into highly structured, visible reality. This ancient manuscript displays the Matrika, the Sanskrit alphabet. These letters serve as reality's linguistic software, acting as atomic limiters, restricting infinite cosmic energy. Moving closer, these character groupings compile into complex molecular programs called Shabda, vectors dictating energy's exact physical behavior. Once these programs compound and layer over each other, they become thoroughly personified. They generate the dense, tactile sensation we register as solid physical objects and events. Attributeless pure energy, when processed through sequential information, equals the illusion of a solid physical world. The linguistic code writes the hardware of reality. Man-made engines strictly obey the second law of thermodynamics. They burn fuel, increase entropy, and inevitably decay into disorder. The human body does the exact opposite. It functions as a negentropy machine, a highly specialized system that actively maintains complex order by constantly consuming subtle energy and high-quality information. This anatomical diagram illustrates the Sushumna Nadi, a central vertical axis turning the human body into a dipole antenna to receive cosmic quantum information. Panning down, these pedal structures function as a biological circuit board, processing distinct physiological outputs. The human body acts as a highly specialized quantum classical hybrid. It is an instrument engineered specifically to capture cosmic software and render it into physical reality. Locking a physical shape into a rigid, three-dimensional space against the universe's natural pull toward entropy requires a massive reserve of power. This required power is known as binding energy, or in Kashmir Shaivism, sankoka, which translates literally to tension. To keep the human form factor powered, the system relies on three intense structural stresses, called the malas. There is the ego's tension of smallness, the mind's tension of difference, and the physical body's tension of action. We experience psychological stress, the relentless urge to consume, and a deep feeling of separation from everything around us. These are the mechanical requirements of the thermodynamic battery, keeping our interface online. Physical existence is a literal stress state. This precise, localized tension is the mechanical force preventing human consciousness from instantly dissolving back into pure energy. We measure human longevity in years, but mechanically, it is strictly the duration required for a localized coil of tension to naturally exhaust its stored energy. Biological death represents the ultimate relaxation of binding energy, as the mechanical stress of physical form finally dissipates. The process of dying is simply the act of taking off the virtual reality headset. The localized data gathered over a lifetime is released, returning safely and smoothly to the pure quantum vacuum. The destruction of the human form factor only ends the user interface. The foundational cosmic code and the consciousness that observed it remain completely intact. This golden yantra visually represents Mahakal, or the Eater of Time. Mahakal is the transcendent state of reality, a state of absolute stillness and zero-point energy that directly mirrors the static, perfect geometry of the amplitudron before any calculations occur. Contrasting this static base reality is Kali, the immanent clock speed of the universe. Kali acts as the read-write head, processing the sequential code to create the kinetic illusion that time is passing. This perspective reveals the individual viewer as the singular, attributeless energy of the universe, simply masquerading as many different forms. The intense tension of physical existence is Leela, a thrilling, intentional game of hide and seek. You are actively projecting this interface, empowering you to become the master of the very reality you are rendering.